Welcome, everybody. Well, before we get things going, right off the bat, I want to thank you. We're going to do a training. It's taken bits and pieces from my stress mastery training, and we're going to do it in kind of an hour. So a lot of this is going to be about how I can help you. So to hear what you would like to get from today, from our time together, so you can get what you need. So, who would like to go first? And you can communicate with me audio, video, or through chat. However, whatever works for you. And rather than be, we're going to do some interactive stuff, so it's not going to just be me talking the whole time. So, Anna, put you on the spot. You're in the hot seat. What would you like to get from our time together? What brings you in?
Hi, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in great.
Okay. I am working at Grandview Early Learning Center,
Oh,
where
hello.
you've done training with us before.
Yeah.
I felt like you were a real positive person and made an impact on me, and that's something that I want to get a little bit of your medicine and be able to take it and pass it on to families as we continue to work towards reopening.
Oh, yeah. When do you guys know? When are you guys going to be reopening, you think?
We don't have a specific date set yet, but the boss said that we're going to work on it soon.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. Right as you're talking, a lot of this is going to be, and I think everybody here's had me before in a training, which is great. So a lot of this has been about recognizing when, I'll let this person in there, when our brains start future tripping and it gets us into trouble. So Anna, right as you were talking, I could pick up on, it's really easy for your brains to start going, well, when we open, what's going to happen? And then it starts future tripping and stacking on top of things, which can create quite a bit of trouble. So there's an exercise we're going to do after we do this component here that'll help you learn how to reboot your brain. I remember for me, when the COVID thing started, since I'm a public speaker, most everything in public stopped. So what I do for a living has changed dramatically. And I became very mindful of focusing on, you hear what you can control, and that's a little harsh for me, but it's more like focusing on the day at hand, doing a little bit of planning, but you'll notice when, the idea is to notice when your brain starts kind of going into overdrive and then back away, okay? And the exercise we're going to do here in a few minutes will help with that. And what triggered me to think about that is the idea of being more positive. So to do that, it's like basically being mindful of where your brain's going. I'm not saying don't plan to go get toilet paper. It's, the next step is to get toilet paper, and don't plan on there being a line of 30 people. And then you start, the next thing you know, you don't go because you're afraid because of all this other stuff. So, cool. Glad you're here, Anna. Thank you. Who else? So Rita has trying to survive and support families during this stressful time. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. When you say survive, what does that mean for Rita? Yeah, so she says it means to stay calm and focus on a positive outcome, right? I'm gonna be a little nitpicky with the wording if I can. One of the things I talk about in one of my trainings is how the words have power. Like when you use the idea of I have a deadline, 9 times out of 10, you'll cringe inside. A lot of people, it's like, deadline, what? So it creates stress even though you're not there. And what I want you to get is trying to survive. You hear that, and I can even feel how it creates a little bit of a panic. So if you're willing even to frame it differently or speak about it differently, which is to stay calm and focus on the positive. Or what I like to say is, stay at peace, keep yourself calm and centered, and what's the next step? Focus on the next thing. So nicely done. So we got that from Rita. And let's pop over to Sylvia. Hey, Sylvia, what would you like from today?
What would I like from today? That's a loaded question.
Okay.
I think I have been in trainings with you before and really enjoy the way you teach and the way that you communicate new learnings. So what I want from today is my heart and soul is open to anything that I can learn. How's that?
I love it. I'm open. And I'm guessing you don't want me to talk about racing cars, though. You want me to kind of hone in on, because
that racing cars, you and I could definitely have a solid conversation about racing cars.
everybody else be like, oh, their rides would roll back. We'd be over jamming on cars. Well, and it's interesting, and this is perfect. It leads right into the idea of sometimes we need an intervention in our brain, right? Because your brain's over here worrying. And if I may, can I share what you were talking about earlier? How you take time away? Oh, I think we just lost her. So one of the things is to do an intervention. It's a harsh word, but really intervene in what your brain's doing so you can regroup and refocus on what's important. Because if not, our brains end up in some really weird places. Okay, thank you, Sylvia. We got Rita, and we've got somebody named Knight in the room. Hi, hello. Would you like to chime in here a little bit on what you would like from today? And I'm going to open it up to the first one. Here we got Knight and Tori. Hello, Tori. Either or, you can chime in auditorily, video, or chat in the chat room. What would you like from today? And we'll even move over to Teresa or the unnamed caller from the 206. What are some things that you would like?
Hi, Paul. I think I'm interested in learning about how to help some of my elderly clients deal especially with the stress of the unknown and where our world is right now. It's scary, especially for them when they are afraid to leave their homes.
So tell me where you work again.
I work a few different places, but mostly why I'm chiming in here today is for the DDA clients that I work with.
And those are home visits, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to get a feel for that. So thank you. So great question. It's interesting. So I've noticed with the shelter in place thing, have you guys noticed this too? You're sitting around, you're not socializing as much, and then your brain kind of goes on autopilot. and a part of our brain really wants to, it's not necessarily a negative thing, but it wants to fix something. And oftentimes it like even will come up with things it wants to fix. So even if it's not a problem. So what happens is, let me erase this for a second. The idea is to support them and for us to be more mindful of the stimulus that we allow into our area, if you will. So here's the stimulus that comes in. And stimulus can be anything from, it can be a positive thing. It can be appreciations. It can be negative things. It can be watching CNN for 24 hours. It could be, whatever it is. And what I want you to get is that once we allow that in, and feel free to show your customers and clients this, once we allow that in, it oftentimes has an effect. So I'm just going to touch on this softly, but I remember when the World Trade Center was bombed and they showed the video images on TV. I think I watched them for a total of 5 minutes, and it took me 2 or 3 days to process it. So what I'm trying to get at is that be mindful of the stimulus because it creates ripples. And those ripples can have an effect. And if we're not careful, it becomes a big tsunami, right? So there's a couple things you can do and for your clients to do. And I'll get back from the theory to the real world stuff in a second. So one is to mitigate the type of stimulus. How much news are you watching? Do you want to keep watching the news? Where are you watching it from, right? Be mindful of that because, again, remember that information comes in and creates a ripple. Years ago, I was working with some kiddos, and they were like, we were talking about video games where they were positive or negative or any of that, and I told them, I said, you know, I think they're not so hot, but I wanted to actually test it out. And I remember I was playing a video game from a popular movie. I won't say which one. And I get done with the video game, and I noticed I was agitated and still playing it aggressively inside myself as I shut my eyes and tried to chill out. So what that told me is that had an effect for me anyway. So the idea is to mitigate and be more aware of what you're allowing into your mind. I knew this from law enforcement. If it's really easy to get myopic and focus on one thing, and the more you focus on it, you think it's everywhere, and the world's going to end if you're not careful. Okay, so it's really about being able to change the lens and put things in perspective. So yes, COVID is happening. Yes, people have it, and yes, people are healing from it. I think I saw somewhere it said like there's 1 million people have recovered from the coronavirus and whatever it is. So there's something that you can do with your elderly clients. It's help them keep it in perspective, and then I wouldn't so much tell them what to do, and not that you would, but I know when I'm told what to do, it's kind of hard for me to kind of filter it through. It's more like ask them what the effect is and what's causing it. And when I've talked to people, they usually come back to, well, it's been the stimulus or the news or what I think of, or I notice my brain's doing this thinking all the time with COVID. And then the idea is to just change that. The other thing you can do is deal with the effect. Do I have a red one? I do. Check that out. So as the thermometer goes up, right, starts going up, pressure starts building and building and building. So the question is, what can you do to release some of that pressure? So let's say you start working on decreasing the effect of the stimulus or decreasing the stimulus that comes in, that's negative, if you will. And then you realize, well, and I also want to change and mitigate some of the effects. So what are some things that you can do? Give me a list of a couple, 3 things you can do to mitigate the effect. An interesting thing is we already do it, but not necessarily for the situation we're talking about. When you have a hard day at work, what do you do when you come home, for example?
So I choose to go for a drive or go for a hike or go for a swim at my lake or anything to release stress physically. That's what I do.
Yeah, you can change your focus. Thanks, Sylvia. You can change your focus by doing something different, taking out a book, turning the TV off. Well, reading a book that doesn't also get you amped up about what you're worried about. Truthfully, what we're talking about is fear and its effect. I've got a white paper I'll give you guys later if you want, that you can check it out. It goes into more detail, but our body does things, cortisol, adrenaline start flowing. It just changes all sorts of our mental bandwidth, if you will, the stress does. So the first thing is to change the focus. What am I thinking about? Put it on something else. The next thing is to do something physical if you can. And what I want to say is find what works for you. For me, I love the physical one. Like I'll hit the gym and just, I don't go to the point where I'm overtraining because of the energy from it, but I'll go to release it in a physical way. You can go for a hike. You can go for a walk. You can journal. Okay, so it's a physical or a way of releasing the energy that's building up. There's one more thing on here I want to show you before we switch gears a little bit off this topic here. Is is the idea to remember that trying to make a brain. Close enough. Is that our brain gets in information and we don't always have to believe what we think, and that we have control or influence on it. What I'm trying to get at is our brain isn't us. What we're thinking isn't us. So if it's not working, intervene and do something different to change that. Okay? Now, some of you are probably going, well, that just means being willy-nilly in the world, and that's not what I'm saying. It's more about the truth is right now, I cannot go lobbying in the legislature to create change in laws or create bills. So it's bringing things back to what I can have influence on, and how do I want to be amidst what's happening. I've said that. Some of you have probably heard that in the training. You know, it's not so much the thing that's happening as how you are amidst the thing that's happening. Okay? Nicely done. So we got stimulus. You can work with that, reducing the effect of negative stimulus by doing some sort of a release. And remember that we're separate from our thinking. So don't believe that your brain is taking you for a ride and you don't have control over it or influence. Okay? Cool. Somebody else. Oh, so Rita says, yeah, here's what she does. Deep breathe, relax, get some fresh air. Nice. And work in your yard with your flowers. Yeah, nicely done. Tori chipped in that she relaxes, whatever works for you. Some people relax by working on cars or working on projects or crafts. Other people relax by, you know, lazy boy vegging out and staring at the ceiling. Cool. Let's see, before we move on to the next, Tori chipped in earlier. She's wanted to find ways to support her families through unknown times. Let me show you what just popped into my brain here. So what can happen is all of a sudden we start focusing on a problem. And if we're not careful, we start listing the 3 or 4, you notice your brain does this? Start listing the 3 or 4 things of the problem. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sub of 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 of 2, of 3, of 4. And before you know it, you've got all of this happening here. And then this has an effect. Okay? So what I want you to get is develop the ability to put things in perspective. Usually you can't do anything about these things here because they're in the future and haven't even happened yet. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've tried to influence these directly from this place and time. This is me. And it'll drive you batty. I remember, this is probably 10 years ago now, because I have a nonprofit that I run and I have this company. I listed down 374 things I was thinking about on a spreadsheet. 374. What did I learn from that? Oh, narrow the focus. I was over here trying to think about all this. You see why I was exhausted? Yeah. So it's really about stepping back and going, taking a new look and a perspective. Okay, maybe these will happen, maybe not. The idea is, and if you want to really get after this from a linear perspective, what can I do today that will have a positive influence on all these? What do you guys think? What is something you can do every day? This is for 20 points, because this is like an advanced question. Okay? And some of you, well, I don't want to give it away yet, because I want some of you chimed in from earlier. We'll get to those chats too. But what's something that you can do today and every day that will have an influence on stuff that's 3 months down the road? 3 years even. What are some things? What can you do when stress comes for you? What are you going to do?
Have a positive outlook.
Yeah, nice. Tori, hey, um, what are some things that help you with that?
Self-care things, just releasing the negative energy, replacing it with a positive, uh, training your brain to move into a, hey, I got this. It sucks right now, but I'm going to change the negative to a positive through my self-care, whatever that is, through physical or mental or just quiet time.
You betcha.
I have positive self affirmations and affirmations period on my walls. Every wall has a positive affirmation of some sort.
Nice. Love it. Yes. So the idea is, and if you really want to get after it, even thinking that it kind of sucks right now is what I would suggest is try to get to a place where you block that out even. And I've noticed for me, it's like, what am I enjoying about my day today? Enjoy the day today. And that seems to have a ripple effect that's positive. Self-care, affirmations. What affirmations are for people that don't know is positive statements about who you are. And I like the ones that are about your intrinsic value and worth. They never change. So it's not like I'm an amazing parent, which you probably are, or it's not I'm an amazing 3-point shot, because that might change. It's that you matter, you belong, that you're capable, or if you're from France, capable, and that things will work out. And this is the thing I wanted to get earlier.
Paul, would it be questioning living in the moment?
Sure. That's kind of where we're getting back to.
Okay.
Yeah. What happens is all this stuff is future tripping, which is so not in the moment, right? So very not in the moment. And the idea is, what can you get back to today? And the thing is that we're taught somewhere that the way to actually function in the planet, in the world, in our world, is to manage this. And what I want you to get it, and I'm being abstract, but we could list all the things with COVID. My healthcare is going to go away. We're actually, let's do this in a second, but this is for from Tori. It's like, or Teresa, sorry. It's like, be mindful of the things that you're doing and then bring yourself back. And what happens is, the truth is, everything's worked out up to today because you're still here. You're upright. But then what does your brain do automatically? And then you're like, well, yeah, but this and that. You start listing problems, and I'm like, wait, time out. I got
I
up.
usually go to I totally just lost what I was thinking about. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. That's okay. It's happened to me twice so far. It's the Zoom vortex. We're in a Zoom meeting. You're
Oh,
There it
my thing is everybody's like, oh, it's so bad right now, and I'm like, it could be worse. Where it's not terrible.
Okay. Great, great. How about, would you like to upgrade that a little bit?
Sure.
Would you? Do you have your credit card with you? Because for like two easy payments, I take PayPal. So the way to upgrade it is, it's getting better every day.
Okay.
See where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
I love where you're going. It's kind of like, what I want you to get is like, there's still a little bit of a negative ripple, softness to it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I love where you're going. You're bringing you back from, oh my God, this is horrible, to, hey, it could be worse. Yes. And for me, it's like, I've gotten through stuff like this before.
Right.
It's happening to my brain even now. I want to acknowledge this. It wants to go over here and make this worse. And my belief is, our brains don't want to get laid off. You know what I mean? It's like, I think our brains are afraid that we're going to discover how little we need them. Because it's like, well, I got to find something to do to prove that you need to keep thinking and stay out of the taking care of yourself, to stay out of the positive outlook, to stay out of the affirmations. And this is a big one. Self-care is extremely important. It impacts this. So back up here, when I wanted to get before we move on a little bit, when I'm over here future tripping, I'm trying to solve everything that's not working that I've listed. You see that? And what do I forget? What am I not looking at?
Everything that's happening now.
And everything has been okay, and all the stuff that I've done, it's worked out wonderfully. But your brain's like, I'm going to do a David Copperfield. I do not want you looking here because we're going to be fine. I want you to look over here like a subcontractor that makes things worse to keep coming to you, right? I got to keep going back to the same subcontractor because they keep breaking stuff. That's what our brain's like. It's like, oh, no, look over here. As a matter of fact, that little thing over there is off. We should fix that. No, don't look at this, right? Okay, cool. Nicely done. Round of applause. Let's see what we got on the chat board. Oh, this is from earlier. So Anna and Anna said she does beadwork and music to help mitigate the effect. And I'm sorry, I don't know the first name, but the person that says night says music is always good. And Rita chipped in with take one day at a time. Yeah, I've been learning that more and more, right? It's interesting. For Teresa, when things were so uncertain, it's like, have you ever been on a BAP board? What a BAP board is? Like if you have an ankle issue or something, it's a board and it's got a ball on the bottom, and it's about trying to stay balanced. I couldn't hear you. So it's like you try to stay balanced, and then
We have those in our preschool. We call them balance boards.
yeah, perfect. And what happens is that if I start focusing on the stuff that's uncertain, it's really hard. If I'm not focusing on right here on this board, I'll fall over. It's a great way of an illustration of it. CC. Oh, CC Knight. Gotcha. Thanks. So let's see. We got Anna reads positive information. She does that too. CC says she works at an attitude of gratitude. Is there a song, an attitude of gratitude? Okay. Stay in prayer or mindfulness. Cool. Work on exercising or something that releases stress. You betcha. I'm kind of flashing to the idea is to unplug the car battery. Unplug your battery, because when it's plugged in, the brain's going. Cool. Nicely done. Everybody gets 25 points. What? How are we on time? Good. But wait, there's more. CC's clapping. We're going to go down here. And then I'm going to share. Oh, wait a minute. I want to show you this first. We're going to do a little paperwork, so to speak. I was working on this earlier. You see the thing down here in virtual land? It's kind of like, well, you tell me, what point do you think I'm trying to get across with this little illustration? And it's over here, it's like 72 degrees. There's birds chirping. 105 here. Probably even warmer in there. What do you think I'm trying to get across, or what do you get from that picture?
Paula, are you expecting us to see everything behind you? Because we're still seeing the whiteboard and I'm seeing very little.
You're still seeing the whiteboard.
Yeah.
How is that?
I see the whiteboard, and then on the side next to it, well, now I see just the whiteboard, but now I can see the tree and the tiger as well, or the lion.
Can you see that, Solia?
I cannot see the tiger, but that's okay. It might be my computer.
Can you see the tree?
I do see the tree.
Cool. So imagine on the other side of the tree is a big tiger with its mouth wide open, really torqued off.
Okay.
Okay.
Angry cat.
Yeah, Tori nailed it. It's an angry cat. So what message might you glean from this?
That even when you're having your angry moment, there's peace right next to it.
Yeah. And if we want to get off topic just a little bit, it's okay to have your feelings, right? We're all feeling human beings, most of us anyway. There's a couple I'm not sure about, but that's okay. But it's like you have the feelings, but don't forget that you can still go here. And ultimately, at some point, especially with stress, and I don't mean this to be mean, I mean this in a loving way. It's about realizing that we have a lot of influence over where we go. Okay? CC chimed in with, yeah, and I'm assuming she meant peace, oops, and scary, not vice versa, right? And here's the thing: if we're not careful, we look more at the lion, and then we fixate on the lion, and what else do we lose picture of everything else that's cool and groovy? Yeah, okay. So let's do something a little linear here for a second. Don't need that so much, but we want to get into it. So what I want you to do is at home or wherever you're at, take out a piece of paper and create 2 columns, if you will. Okay? 2 columns. And what we're going to do is you're going to give yourself the gift of awareness of when your brain's in a funky place. Because if you don't know it's in Funky Town, it's hard to get out of Funky Town because you think Funky Town's normal, right? So on the left side of your page, and you can do this if you don't have paper in front of you, you can do this mentally. I want you to create, take a breath for a second. Notice how you feel right now, and now create a list of everything that is just awful in your life, things that are not working. And you can say life, country, planet. There's a lot of turmoil going on. Whatever it is, write down problems. Give you another minute or so. Keep going. And check in right now and notice what's happening or changing in your body. Something's changed, I bet you. Keep going. Keep writing them. And if you start getting, it gets too intense, you can stop. But what are you noticing? I was just thinking I was going to put music on, but that would defeat the entire purpose of this. Because I'd be having you be distracted while you're trying to focusing on the problem. You're doing great.
And my
Okay.
brain is not allowed, like, once you put too much stress in it, it's just like, no, we're good.
That's great. That's a good boundary, a brain boundary. You betcha. You
Well,
know when your bandwidth is full.
I was gonna say, because I've got like 3, and I'm like, no, everything else is, we're good. We don't
Okay.
need to go there.
So I have a question for you. Can I put you in the hot seat?
Sure.
That was the most hesitative, I don't think that's a word, but sure, I've heard. You don't have to. It's okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to ask you, because you're like, what's the hot seat? I just want to know what changed inside you when you started writing the list. And for people out in the non-video world right now, go ahead and chat in what you noticed for you.
My anxiety went up. I could feel my body just like, it's stressful. To think of the stressful things in my life, my body's just like, oh, you were definitely calm, and now you're ramping up a little bit too much. You
Perfect.
need to come back down.
Not perfect, but perfect. So there's a couple 3 teachings in this. Can you be specific about what changed?
My
Underneath.
heart rate went up.
There we go. What else did you?
My thoughts begin to race.
Yeah, your mind starts going into overdrive.
I can, like, some of my anxious tics started to
Sure.
go.
And you may notice, I've got to add humor here at some point. You may notice an increase of Haagen-Dazs and Netflix. Tori's looking at me like, no. No. What I mean is that, so there's all sorts of things that happen in indications that we're stressed. Things happen. Okay. So for you, you have yours. I got to, please hold while I discover how to get a hold of Rita. What she chatted in, what happens for her. She feels stressed, tense. Her brain starts overworking and the heart rate changes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
What about Sylvia for you? What happens for you? Thanks, Tori. You're off the hot seat.
Thank you for that, Tori. You answered every question very properly. um, when I start getting stressed out and writing things down, my brain tends to shut down after 2 or 3. So that's my natural mechanism of just saying, stop, take a deep breath, you're done, I'm tapping out. So I got to 5, but I wanted to stop at 3.
So this is great. I'm getting goosebumps because you guys are getting some of the significant things already, which is you're already mitigating the stimulus. You're saying, you know what, I know for myself this is enough for me, right? So you have indicators that happen for you. So for Sylvia, when you there's probably something inside you that went, I'm full, right? Those are that's great. So what I would lovingly challenge you to do is to see if you can find something even a little bit earlier. So maybe you don't get as full. And apparently I'm hungry because I'm thinking about food and full right now. But what I'm getting at is that sometimes, I'll show you visually, sometimes we get up to here and this is when we realize our full. And what I'm suggesting is maybe become more aware here so it's not as overwhelming and you're already doing it. Okay. So Cece said, yeah, she starts to feel a headache coming. That's very common. Headache, nausea, heart racing. And what I'm getting at is a lot of us try to take care of that. So that's what I meant. That's why I was joking about the Haagen-Dazs, is you get anxious and you're frustrated and you're scared and we start eating, or we start to micromanage and create like a list of 374 things to do, right? So yeah, the idea is to bring it back and to become
That
more
would explain
aware.
why I didn't understand because I don't do that.
That would explain what?
So that would explain why I didn't understand the metaphor that the
Oh
Haagen
yeah,
Dazs on Netflix. I don't immediately go to the comfort eating and
great.
TV. So
Yeah, it's like, and it's very normal. What we often do is there's something we do to cope or distract ourselves. So now we know that Haagen-Dazs and Netflix is not yours, which is fine. Nothing against them. So,
unfortunately, mine is just going to work.
well, that can be a good thing, unless, guess what? If you're not in balance, then you overwork.
Yeah, that's my problem. I work 2 jobs, so I overwork myself.
See, look at this. Are you kind of picking up what I'm putting down here? A lot of this is about just more self-awareness
Yeah.
and realizing that we don't have to do the knee-jerk reaction that we've been trained to, and we're not going to delve into why so much now. But so in law enforcement, I remember at the academy, we were taught that the speedometer is the most important gauge in your car. You don't know how fast you're going, you cannot slow down. That's what I was told. So this is similar with us as people. If we don't know we're off track or kittywampus, we can't recorrect it. Yeah, so CC says thing about the headache, heart gets a little tighter. Yeah, now that's, for me, that's a good one. That, if it's right for you, CC, it's a subtle one. So you might even want to focus more on the heart part. And maybe there's some things to do to protect it. Some affirmations can be really good. And if you want to hit me up, email or off chat on this, we can talk more about that part, the heart stuff. And by heart, I'm meaning the feeling of it. Anna says she doesn't sleep well and too many thoughts. Okay. So Anna, what have you tried to help you to sleep better and for the thoughts to stop racing? Can you guys relate to this? Like, I have never woken up at 3 in the morning going, with my, I'm teasing you because that's happened. Fortunately, it hasn't happened a lot. So let's see what Anna says. What I want you to hear is find what works for you. So for me, some people will start writing lists and they'll write everything down on paper and then they'll put it away. And that helps them sleep. Guess what it does for me? The complete opposite.
It keeps your mind racing and
Oh yeah, because then I'm like,
thinking.
oh yeah. As a matter of fact, then before all of a sudden my brain's like over here splintering into like 20,000 different. So for me, it's not about doing that. I have to distract, right? So what I was getting at for Anna was, okay, good. So she's tried vitamins, which has helped with varied results. How much time do we have? Whoa, that flew by. Okay. We'll just dive in. I want you to consider that our brains are like little puppies. right? Mine personally is a little black lab with a big tail. Now here's the deal. Have you ever potty trained a puppy? No? Yeah. Sylvia's smiling. So when you potty train a puppy, you like go over here on the paper and it goes. And you go over here on the paper and it goes. And then you decide, oh, I'm going to let it do it on its own. What happens? It's upstairs, under the bedroom, and you don't find it for 3 weeks, right? Our brains are like that, right? So what I want you to get is with practice, patience, and persistence, you can train your brain to stop thinking at night. It's not going to be perfect. So for Anna, the idea is to try some methods, maybe give them a couple, 3 weeks. Whatever works for you. I remember there was a period of time, this worked for me. I told myself before I went to bed, I am not thinking about anything and I'm just going to go to sleep. Right when I did that, for about a month or two, I got blowback big time. Like it was fighting tooth and nail. But now I've trained myself that when I go to sleep, when it's time for bed, and there's once in a while when my brain will wander and I need to get up or something, but usually it's much better. So that's why I use the metaphor of the puppy. It's like we do have some influence and it takes a little time. Okay? It's really about retraining the brain, if you will. And if vitamins help you too, great. It's really about, it's one of the first topics that I suggested with you guys is about retraining where you put your attention to. And what I did with that illustration earlier was to help you guys gain perspective of, if this is the problem, can I really affect change? And where we're talking about 9 times out of 10, you can't. Not directly. So it's like, bring your brain back. Your puppy's scared. Bring it back. What do we need to do for today? What are some things I can do for today? And you're going to do some planning for the future, but try not to, micromanage the whole thing. Okay? That's the idea. Cool. Okay. Let's see how far into this one we want to go. We've covered these in a different way already. Oh, wait, we didn't cover this part. So let's go back to this. So you have your sheet with your problems, all the things that aren't working. So I want you to go back to that, take a look at it. And then on the right column, I want you to put the positive spin or the truth that confronts the negative thinking. And we'll do a few to give people illustrations here in a second. Got a few examples. Okay? You guys get them? Yeah? What did you notice different once you focused on the alternative, the truth? What did you guys notice?
I know I felt more peaceful.
Right.
Like I don't feel as much tension in my body.
Right. There's a concept or a technique called what you focus on gets bigger. The more attention you pay to something, the bigger it will get. And I want you to know that when you start confronting the negative thinking or confronting the stressful thoughts, it's really common for you to get some blowback from your brain, meaning your thoughts will start like being really cranky. Okay. Be patient with it, be compassionate with it, and keep working on it. Okay. When I say truthful, with this COVID thing, what are some things that are true about COVID that's positive? What do you think? And you can phone a friend if you want, or I'll chip in. That was a joke. Yeah, sorry.
I know our people are paying more attention to sanitation,
Right.
washing hands,
Right.
covering your coughs and sneezes.
Right.
It's a healthy positive for an unhealthy situation.
And can you go even, let's go even a little more globally positive, if you will. In 5 years from now, are we going to be okay?
Absolutely.
So there's where I'm going. Focus. It's for us to really focus on that rather than the minutia in the span between now and 5 years from now. Because if you're not careful, so I went to the store a couple days ago, and they were still out of so many things, and then my brain wanted to go to, here we go again. People are hoarding. But what's the truth? For me, the truth is I'm getting what I need, more than what I need. Everything's fine. Oh yeah, Anna typed it in. This too shall pass. And I want you to get, I want to unplug this kind of, I don't mean from a Pollyanna condescending place, like you're stupid for having feelings or fears. It's more like, remember to believe in yourself and your capability. And we've got support from different places, technology. Rita chimed in, we're okay, we will be okay. Yeah. And if that needs to be the thing that you focus on, let that be true. And I want you to hear, I'm not saying let's hide the problem over here. It's more like with the lion up here, it's like I'm choosing to focus over here because I know the lion is going to be gone in about 5 minutes, right? And you don't even have to go there. It's subtle, but there's even a twinge of it being gone in 5 minutes. There's a little bit of a spark of a negative in there. I'm going to focus over here because I know I'm going to be fine. Everything will be okay. It will work out. And if you want to have some fun for extra credit, write down all the stuff you've done that you were afraid was going to go south, and everything turned out fine and even better than fine, right? I remember, I might be oversharing, but what the heck. So when I was on the Today Show, right, I was like, guess what? Nervous before I went on, right? And when I was on, and then after I was off, I was like, I lived.
Right.
Right? But your brain will go, oh. So yeah, it's really about, well, let me ask you, start winding down a little bit. What are some takeaways so far? This is for everybody. What are some takeaways so far from our time together? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? What do you think I'm saying?
Retrain your brain.
That's a great book title right there, huh?
To put
Go ahead.
positives on it.
Yeah, retrain your brain. Realize that we don't have to believe everything we think, which I realize is a thought, but I think thinking that one's a good idea. Yeah, Anna said train your brain. Yeah, in a loving, compassionate way. So don't bully it.
Right.
That was the stupidest thing I could think of. And it's like, oh no, everything's cool. Hello, little puppy. What's up? We're good. They're just fireworks. Okay, I'll hang on to you for a few minutes. No, please don't tear up the towel. Right? Yeah. Rita chimed in with, we can control our stress by controlling our brain. Yeah. With compassion, focusing on something else. If the news is getting to you, turn it off.
Yes.
Even evaluate if you want to keep watching or at what extent. Okay.
I would just have to say, oh, sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I would just have to say that reaffirming that we are in control of what we can be in control of, and reaffirming that everything's going to be okay. That's what I got out of it.
Absolutely. There's some things that we have influence over, and there's a lot of things we don't, and our brain spends a lot of time worrying about a lot of things we don't have influence over. Yeah. So before we end our time, look how fast this is going. What I want to do.
And Paul, could you send this to us, please, so we can do more of it on our own?
For $22.95 and peanut butter cookie. Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you this, and then if you want, I can send you the white paper too. There's I think it's about 10 or 11 pages I did going into stress even more and burnout. Not how to do more stress and more burnout, but how to avoid. Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. I'd be glad to.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I
Absolutely.
would appreciate
And
that.
I
too.
Sure.
and I'd be happy to send you some peanut butter cookies if you give me your address.
You
I
serious?
say same. I like making cookies, and peanut butter
Are
is my
you
favorite.
serious?
So
Oh, I love to bake. I'll bake you something.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I might.
Include your
Yeah,
address. I'm
I will.
serious.
Okay, thank you. You guys are super sweet. It's awesome. Because I eat peanut butter cookie.
Yes.
You guys rock. So before we end, let's do a little bit of a worksheet here, and then we'll see how we're doing, and we'll put a bow on it. So, and I'm thinking I'll do another one of these in a month or so or a few weeks. It's just because I can, yeah. So what are some things that you do that no longer serve you? And think about focusing it in on, everything we've talked about so far. It's probably bubbled up some things. What are some things you look back at and you notice, I'm doing this and it's not working? And write down a couple, 3 or 1. It might be not taking well enough care of myself, or worrying about things I have no influence over. Okay? And then underneath that, write down what you're going to do differently for each one of those. So let's pick self-care. Oh yeah, so Rita says one of the things that she's going to change, she's going to do differently, is something that no longer serves her. She worries about things she can't control. And what's coming up quite a bit is this is more with you guys than other trainings I've been. It's the fear component. And when we're afraid, what do we oftentimes do is we go into control. Because we want to control things so the fear we have doesn't happen. I think that's what
over controlling.
Yep. And I think that's what I'll do the next one on. That next topic is about the fear. Because then what happens is it creates all these chemical reactions in your body, and then, yeah, we'll talk more about that. Okay. So, and it creates this cycle too about chasing the fear, and you go to control, and then stuff doesn't work, and then you're more afraid because it didn't work, and it's like this thing. Oh. And to put down laying in the ditch syndrome. Would you say more about that one? I don't quite understand that one. I have an idea, but I don't think it's correct.
Well, I always worry about my family and what they're doing, and like when they're out somewhere, that if they don't call exactly when they get home or when they get back, then I know that they have gotten in a wreck and they're laying in a ditch and nobody can find them, so nobody can help them. And I'm sitting here helpless to do anything.
And thanks, Anna, for elaborating on that. That's a hard one because you love these people, right?
Mhm.
And your brain's going over to double time worst case scenario.
To panic mode.
Yeah. And what happens is because you care about them, there's like an extra bit of energy in there. There's more of a connection. So truthfully, then when that happens is to go back and intervene even more. And it's also okay to let them know how it affected you. It's like, but don't do it from a place of controlling, right? Say, hey, I was very scared. Would you be willing next time to do this? Or it might just need to be, you just advocate and say, I was scared, and let it go. Okay. What I want you to get is it's okay to have to honor those feelings too, and then do something with them, right? Yeah, that ditch one, it's not cool. It's like your brain just kind of goes down this it's a ditch or this pit, and it's just like, okay. So let's use this as an example. So the self-care, what am I going to do differently? There's all sorts of things. So just pick one or two things you would do differently. One of my favorites is get up in the morning and then don't get out of bed right away. Now, that doesn't mean 8 hours, but it means you wake up and you just kind of chill for a few minutes, or you let yourself, like what I'm doing is, I used to get up and then, get my clothes and take a shower right away. Now I get up, I kind of chill out for a few minutes, I regain consciousness because I've been asleep, right? So I let that happen. Whatever works for you, find something that will impact the self-care. The next question is, what is your why? Meaning, why on earth is it important? How come? I don't mean accusatory, what are you doing it for? It's more like, how come? What's the benefit? What do you want to get out of it? And you can go very linear or very soft with this. Linear would be, because I want to have more energy so I can make better choices in my day and have more positive influence in my life. My why might be because I want to feel more peaceful. My why could be because I've noticed how jumping into the rat race doesn't work because there's always more rats, right? I learned that as a burglary theft detective. You always had between 25 and 35 cases. It didn't matter. You try to clear them up and there's more would come. They're always there. So that's not, cleaning them all up isn't the solution, okay? A couple more. You guys are crushing it. Nice job. So what I want you to do is write down what are signs that you're starting your old ways. So let's say self-care is my thing, and I've been taking care of myself. So one of the signs is I don't sleep well. Oh, one of the signs is I get snarky. There's one. I get snarky with the people I care about. My inner snark starts, okay? So the reason you put that in there is because once you notice you're snarky, you can go, wait a minute, I'm a little more aware now. Okay, I need to actually take a nap. Or I need to hit the gym. Or I've done that a few times. Woken up in the morning and, oh no, I need to go to the gym. Brain, I'm out. I'm going to the gym. And here's the other one, and I want to get it even more subtle. What are indications that it's starting or it's about to start? So if the indicator is, or the sign is that I'm becoming snarky, the indicator would mean I'm getting more critical in my brain. I'm starting to judge people more. I'm becoming less patient. Okay? So we're basically, here's the thing. Here's what I've been doing. Here's what I want to do differently. And I'm committing to it. And here's how I'm going to sabotage it. Right? So start finding ways over here earlier that'll help you succeed. So here's the last one. And I'm going to open this up to everybody. Toss-up question worth 22 points. How can you help you stay on track? How can you support yourself to creating the change you want to change? How can you support yourself to do things differently? What can you do? What can you
Being
do?
mindful.
Being mindful. So give me a specific, if you would, like.
So just like you talked about as we were writing down our stresses, be more aware of what's happening physically and mentally and try to put a stop to that before it gets to the point where we can't tap out.
Yeah, and I would even suggest be really specific and say 3 times a week, I'm going to spend 20 minutes on this.
I say I work mine into my schedule.
Yeah.
I do a self-care Sundays. So I'll
Great.
do like a facial mask or something. And then one of my other self-cares is I get my nails done. So every 2 weeks I get my
All right.
nails done.
Absolutely. And the reason I say that, and Sylvia, you're spot on with what you're talking about. It's just that our brains have this ability to be like, well, I'm going to do it on Monday, and then 2 weeks later, we still haven't done it yet, right? Because we weren't really specific with when and where. Yeah. How are you going to keep yourself on track? 5 times a week, I'm going to hit the gym.
That's
Interesting. Hit the gym.
it. It literally says it on my calendar. I write it into my calendar every Sunday.
Love it. Awesome. Okay. Oh, we got somebody. What did she say? Anna says she's going to do the lay in bed before she gets up and say affirmations. Yes. So I did a positivity training for a casino probably 5 or 6 years ago for their entire staff. And the reason I remember it is because it was a 2-dayer, and the second day this lady came in, like I think she worked in housekeeping. She goes, "Paul Figueroa, you brainwashed us." And I was like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, I went to bed. I told myself I was gonna have a great day, and I woke up. I told myself I was having a great day, and I had a great day. And I even stayed later and helped out some of my friends." I thought it was hilarious. So yeah, I love it, Anna. That's what made me remember it is stay in bed before you get up and let yourself know you're gonna have an awesome day. Something good will come out of it. Confront it's like our brains go on this autopilot. No. And she also put, I cannot control everything. And actually, for me, that's a good thing. And that you have a choice. Yeah. Don't be hard on yourself with the choice thing. What I want you to get is that, oh, I can. The more I become aware, then I can change things. All right. We're going to put a bow on this little thing. What are some takeaways? I'd love to hear what you're taking away until the next time we meet, or if not, what are you taking away in general? The next one I'll do will be on fear. Fear in the body. What do you have?
To focus on the bigger picture rather than the moment.
Yeah, the bigger picture as long as it's positive.
Right.
Yes.
Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yep. Rita put down, remember we are okay. Anna, focus on the positive. Yeah. The reason I said the thing, Tori, about the big picture is sometimes we think we're actually helping by focusing on the big picture that's the problem.
Right.
And then, yeah, and I'm not saying you do this. And then what happens is we get all those physiological responses, and we're like, why do we feel bad? Well, what have we been doing? Focusing on, yeah, absolutely. Focusing on the positive. Great. Okay. Cool and groovy. So let's see. I've got, hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you,
You
Paul.
guys are awesome. You're very welcome. Glad to help. What? So let's see. So Tori, you wanted the handout and you want the
Yes,
white paper
please.
too?
Yes, please.
Okay, you got it. And Sylvia, same?
Yes, please.
Okay. Anna, would you like both of those? Anna and Rita? Rita's got a yes.
Please.
Got it. Anna's got her yes. Cool. And I'll have, I'm going to put the white paper up on my website too, but I'll email you this out today. Or what day is today? Right, there's the COVID thing now. What day is it? I don't know. What day is it? Oh, it's June. So I'll have those up on the website too. And then you guys will be in the loop. I'll do one probably in a couple, 3 weeks on fear and the effect on the body. Any more questions before we call it wonderful and awesome?
Nope. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're, oh, thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this.
You're very welcome, Tori. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome, Anna. Good to hear your voice again.